thunder of jets in an open sky, a streak of gray, and a cheerful...
A loop, a whirl, and a vertical climb, and once again you'll know it's time for the adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and friends.
Starring that supersonic speedster, Rocket J. Squirrel, with his pal Bullwinkle the Moose, and a host of others.
Hurry, Bullwinkle! The show's about to start!
I'm coming as fast as I can.
Wave to the people!
Yay!
Now what are you doing?
Signing autographs. Let's see. John Smith.
But your name is Bullwinkle.
I know, but that's hard to spell.
We're gonna have a lot of fun. Come on and join us.
Sure, there's always room for one more.
Last time, you remember, that foul fiend, Boris Badenov, had unleashed another mechanical mouse attack on an American town.
And what is our honor city, Natasha?
Podunk Junction, darling.
Okay, you rats, seek 'em.
But as the Metal-Munching moon mice started off on their grisly journey, they were spotted by Rocky and Bullwinkle and the two moon men, Gidney and Cloyd.
We didn't know our moon mice would be used this way, Rocky.
No, cross my hearts.
Hearts? You got more than one?
On the moon, we always carry a spare heart.
Must be nice come Valentine's Day.
Never mind that. We gotta head 'em off.
Of course, there was only one place to head them off.
At the pass!
And so, a short time later, our heroes stood in the middle of the narrow pass awaiting the onrushing horde of metal monsters.
Listen to that, Bullwinkle.
Oh, the patter of tiny feet.
They'll be on us in a minute. Remember, they shall not pass.
Us.
Yeah, us.
Nearer and nearer drew the mice, but at the last minute, something odd happened.
Bullwinkle, they're taking another road.
They're past us already.
Doggone, never happens like this in the cowboy pictures.
Sure enough, the mice had taken the express highway instead of the pass, and in a little while descended on the little town of Podunk Junction unopposed. Quickly, they began their vicious work of devouring all the TV antennas in town. Program after program went off the air. The boxing matches stopped.
There's a right and a left, and the champion is down. And it's 6, 7, 8.
No, you mustn't go. Come back.
The late evening variety shows were affected.
And now, here's the star of our show.
What happened, Humbert?
I guess he walked out again.
In a remarkably short time, the entire city of Podunk Junction was without television of any kind. Lights began to flash on in darkened living rooms. People could actually see each other, some for the first time in months.
Why, Humbert, you've grown a mustache.
Don't you know me, Dad? I'm Orville.
Orville, how you've grown, son.
Back at the pass, our friends, of course, were feeling sad indeed.
Let's face it, fellas, we failed miserably.
Yeah, and that's the worst way.
How are we ever going to get rid of those mice?
As long as the big cheese controls them, we haven't got a chance.
We could sure use one of them Pied Piper fellas.
Bullwinkle, that's it.
I did it again, huh?
You sure did. We'll advertise for a Pied Piper to get rid of the moon mice.
A Pied Piper? That's silly.
Kind of far-fetched, isn't it, Rocky?
Looky here. If we can believe in moon mice, you can believe in Pied Pikers.
I guess you're right.
And so a short time later, a remarkable ad appeared in the Frostbite Falls Picayune Ledger.
Wanted, Pied Piper to get rid of moon mice.
Make big money.
Whistle while you work.
I still think it's nonsense, Rocky. We'll never get a Pied Piper.
Not even offering a great big reward?
Allow me to introduce myself. Rough-on Rats Chase 'em off at your service.
Rough-on Rats Chase 'em off.
Ah, you heard of me.
Are you a real piper?
Am I a real piper? Observe.
And Burroughs quickly drew out a pipe and blew several smoke rings.
Well, I guess he's a genuine piper, all right.
Okay, Mr. Chase 'em off. We'll pay you $1 for every mechanical metal-munching moon mouse you pipe away from here.
Just leave it to me, kiddo. Oh, Boris, baby, your plan is paying off. There's millions in it. Millions.
Oh, dear. Is Rocky going to make a millionaire out of his worst enemy? We'll find out next time in Bucks for Boris or Rocky Pays the Piper.
And now it's time
For 5 or 6 baritone solos in the key of E.
But
Ooh.
now for another of our special features.
Should have tried E flat.
Once upon a time, there was an old woodchopper, and he lived in the woods, which is a nice place to live if you happen to be a woodchopper. His wife had presented him with a fine son, and as the years went by, they were very happy. That is, until one day, when they sat by the fire, his wife looked up to him and said,
Pa,
she always called him Pa.
have you noticed anything strange about our boy Tom lately?
Strange? Oh, Tom, could you come in here for a minute, boy?
Yes, Father.
Here, let me look at you, son. Stick out your tongue. No, can't say as I do, Ma. What do you mean?
Well, it seems a mite smaller than it should be.
Oh, land sakes, Ma, give the lad a chance. He'll grow as he gets older.
Older. He's 28 now.
Just the same, he gonna grow. Won't you, boy?
Yes, Father.
But as year after year went by, Tom didn't grow an inch.
Tom,
Yes, Father.
now you better mind your daddy and grow, you understand?
Yes, Father. I'm trying.
The problem grew as Tom didn't. Being so small proved to be a constant danger to the young man.
What's the matter, Pa?
Don't move. There's a cockroach on the table. I'll get him. There, you little varmint. Ooh, sorry about that, Tom. Does it hurt?
Only when I laugh, Father. Ooh.
Then there was the time that Tom fell down a crack in the floor and was missing for 3 weeks, until one day when...
Pa, have you seen any witches around here lately?
Why, no. Why do you ask?
Well, I think one sneaked in here and cast a spell on our vacuum cleaner bag. Listen, it talks.
Help! Help! Let me out of here!
Oh, there ain't no spell on that bag, Ma. You done vacuumed up our boy Tom again?
It was finally decided that something had to be done, and the old man called to his son.
Now, this here gone on long enough, boy. Now I'm going to take matters into my own hands. I'm going to make you grow.
Yes, Father.
Now, maybe the whole trouble is you ain't eating enough food. Now, eat this whole watermelon, and we're going to see what happens.
6 months later, Tom had eaten every bite, and his father carefully measured him, but he still hadn't grown even the tiniest bit.
Dag nabbit, boy, you just ain't trying.
Yes, I am, Father. Honest.
The old woodchopper kept right on doing everything he could think of that might make his son grow. He stuffed little Tom full of vitamins, fed him with all the food he could hold. He exercised him from sun up to sundown.
1, 2, 1, 2, up, down, touch them toes, lift that weight, tote that bart, grow, you little critter, I want you large. Now, we skip the rope.
Good idea. Let's skip it. I'm pooped.
Any change in the boy yet, Pa?
Yep.
Oh, good. You mean he's growing?
Nope. He's losing weight.
The old man even made a tiny track out in the backyard, and Tom would stretch his muscles by running around and around by the hour.
Good lad, Tom. You just ran the 4-minute yard. But you still haven't grown a cussed inch.
Alas, by now it had become quite clear that nothing they could do would make Tom grow. It looked like he would just have to stay small.
Son, I'm afraid that only being 2 inches tall, one of them little things you just gonna have to learn to live with.
I noticed that.
But try as he might, Tom found it impossible to adjust to his little problem and be happy. And one day, he finally came to a decision.
I can't stand living here this way. It's time for me to marry, so I'm going out into the world and seek a bride.
You can't do that, boy. Why, the cards are all stacked against you.
Don't say it, Father, I know. But my mind is made up and I must try. Farewell.
and Tom struck out all by himself and into the cold, strange world that lay ahead.
Oh, poor Tom. He never gonna find anyone small enough to be his bride.
I know.
This might have been the end of the story, and all would have lived unhappily ever after, but for one thing. Soon after Tom had left, they received a letter from him with some very startling information.
Ma! Our Tom's got a job in town and he found himself a bride.
Why, land sakes, where do you suppose that tricky little Dickens found a sweetie as teeny as he is?
I don't know, but the wedding's tomorrow and we're invited. Come on, Ma, we're heading for town.
The old woodchopper and his wife had never been to town before because until now they never had a reason. But when they arrived the next day, a most amazing discovery was made.
Well, if this don't take the rag off in the bush, no wonder we couldn't get Tom to grow. That little stinker was normal all along.
My goodness, dear. How come your mother and father are so big?
Very simple, honey. They're from Texas.
And they all lived ever after, which is just about all you can expect with a situation like this.
Look, Bullwinkle, a message in a bottle.
Fan mail from some flounder?
No, this is what I really call a message.
Hello, poetry lovers. Today's poem is a saga of the Old West called Little Bo Peep. Little Bo Peep has lost her sheep and can't tell where to find them. Leave them alone and they'll come home.
Okay, stranger, get.
Get?
This cowboy for scram.
Scram? How come?
You on my range, sheep herder.
Sheep herder? I'm Little Bo Peep and those are my sheep.
Your sheep, you got brand on them?
Brand? I wouldn't brand them. They're my little buddies.
Buddies. What kind sheep are buddies?
Friend sheep?
Oh, you got to prove to me they're yours.
Okay, you asked for it.
Oops.
Hey, where you going?
Can't you tell? I'm taking it on the lamb.
And now,
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
again,
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! Ooh, don't know my own strength.
now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Hello again, Peabody here. Today, Sherman and I will be in the hands of our receiver.
You mean we're bankrupt, Mr. Peabody?
The receiver I refer to is an integral part of the telephone. The year is 1873, the place is Boston University, and the man we're going to meet is the world-famous scientist and inventor, Alexander Graham Bell. As usual, the Wayback Machine operated perfectly, teleporting us into Alexander Graham Bell's laboratory.
Eureka! I'm finished.
What is it, Mr. Bell? Did you just invent something?
Yes, a boon to all mankind. Look.
Why, it's just a cracker.
Not just a cracker, an Alexander Graham cracker.
We proceeded to put the cracker to a severe test.
Boy, that's good.
Tell me, Mr. Bell, have you started work on the telephone yet?
What's a telephone?
A device that reproduces sound or speech at a distant point by means of electricity.
You're out of your head. It can't be done.
Of course it can, and you're going to invent it. We kept the midnight oil burning that night while Alexander Graham Bell drafted plans for the telephone.
There we are, all done.
That doesn't look like a telephone.
Well, actually, it's a picture of me leading an orchestra. I thought I'd call it Alexander's Ragtime Bell. What do you think?
I think you'd better invent the telephone. Sherman, I'm afraid you and I will have to take drastic action. The Peabody Construction Company went into action. We built a telephone booth for every room in the building, hoping that Bell would get the hint and install telephones. However, we were in for a disappointment, for the great man entered the nearest booth, tacked up a curtain, and said,
I'm voting for McKinley. How about you?
I didn't know it then, but 2 Russian football players who had transferred to Boston University were at that very moment on the threshold of also discovering the telephone. It happened during scrimmage practice.
Aye, Korsakov, I just happened to think of an idea wonderful.
Such as, Rimsky?
Listen, his method of talking to people over long distance. I have here a small recording of my voice, right?
Right.
I put recording into football. Is also right?
Is also right.
Okay, you run to other end of field. Is good idea, Korsakov?
Is great idea, Rimsky.
The following Saturday afternoon, Boston University faced its arch-rival, La Jolla Tech. For 3 quarters, the teams battled on even terms, neither one being able to score, and that's when Rimsky and Korsakov went into action.
It's time for big play. Korsakov, you call timeout while I go make recording.
Time was called for 45 minutes.
Great game, isn't it, Mr. Bell?
Yes, I'm enjoying it immensely.
Play was resumed as Rimsky trotted back onto the field.
Okay, it's all set for big play. I throw long pass to Korsakov. Korsakov, when football is caught, you take out the record and play it, right?
Right.
Boston University came out of the huddle and lined up. The ball was snapped back to Rimsky, who faded deep behind the line of scrimmage. Just when it seemed as though the Russian quarterback would be dropped for a huge loss, he unleashed a prodigious throw. 99 yards away, Korsakov gathered the ball in.
I dream of Geniek with the light brown hair.
Realizing he had played the wrong side of the record, Korsakov quickly flipped it over.
Korsakov, this is Rimsky. You got ball? Good. Listen carefully. You are standing on 1 yard line, right?
Right.
Okay, turn around, take 1 step over goal line and score touchdown. Do not pass go, do not collect 200 rubles, go straight to jail.
Boston University won the game, and seconds later the stands were buzzing with the rumor that a method of long-distance communication had been invented.
That's very interesting.
Also very alarming. Mr. Bell, unless you get busy at once and invent the telephone, I'm afraid somebody else will do it.
You're right. I've been an incredible fool. Quick, we must return to my laboratory.
For the next 24 hours, Alexander Graham Bell slaved over his workbench. But at peace with himself, he opened the door and called us in.
Congratulate me, I've done it.
That's wonderful, Mr. Bell.
Here, what do you think of it?
But that's a baseball.
Yes. You see, you make a miniature recording of the voice and stuff it inside the ball. Then you hit it to someone in the outfield and...
Gee, Mr. Peabody, will he ever invent the telephone?
Yes, Sherman, but only after much hard work. I suppose that's why Ernest Hemingway wrote a book about him.
What was it called?
For Whom the Bell Toils.
Well, in a last-ditch effort to stop the monstrous mechanical metal-munching moon mice, our heroes put an ad in the paper.
Wanted, high-class Pied Piper to get rid of monstrous mechanical metal-munching moon mice.
Name your own price.
The ad got results sooner than they expected.
Rofan, let's chase him off at your service.
The piper looked a lot like Boris Badenov, but as usual, our trusting friends failed to suspect a thing.
Please, the world needs trusting people.
It does?
Otherwise, who could those villains cheat?
Boris blew a few smoke rings to prove he was a real piper, but Gidney the Moon Man still wanted to know...
How good are you at getting rid of rats?
Please, read motto.
Rats, a specialty.
It takes one to know one.
Okay, Mr. Chase-em-off, we'll give you $1 for every moon mouse you pipe away from here.
It's a deal, little chum.
And Boris dashed off to his secret headquarters where a whole regiment of the metal-munching monsters stood ready to go.
This is the day.
What day is that, darling?
Payday.
Meanwhile, our heroes were surprised and pleased to see Boris apparently piping away a whole line of moon mice.
Boy, he does good work.
Yeah, and here he comes again already.
Sure enough, Boris led another line of moon mice by our heroes, and a few moments later, still another.
You know, Bullwinkle, those mice are all beginning to look alike.
Well, if you've seen one moon mouse, you've seen them all.
But Rocky had guessed better than he knew, for Boris was simply leading his moon mice in a large circle and taking the same ones back again and again. At the end of the day, Rocky added up the Pied Piper's bill.
Gee, we owe you close to $6,000.
That's a nice number to be close to.
But it's worth it if it means the end of the moon mice.
Well, you know me, all work guaranteed.
Flushed with success, our heroes erected a TV antenna on the roof to the cheers of the populace.
Yay!
I thought you said your work was guaranteed.
But I didn't say positively.
Gee, there must be more of those moon mice than I thought.
How many did we bring down, Gidney?
About 100,000.
100,000?
Let's see, at $1 apiece.
That's almost $1,000.
It's $100,000, Bullwinkle.
Well, I was close.
Gee, we don't have that much money.
I don't even think there is that much money.
Take it or leave it, buddy.
Guess we gotta leave it.
Don't worry, you'll be back.
Why'd you fellas bring all these mice down here for anyways?
It wasn't our idea, Bullwinkle.
No, Mr. Big said they were going to be used as messengers.
Well, a lot he knows about...
Mr. Big?
You're interrupting, Rock.
But you didn't hear what
Mr. Big!
You know him?
Know him?
And our heroes told the Moon Men of their terrible experiences with the sinister, shadowy figure of Boris's boss, Mr. Big, who turned out to be not so big after all. The last they'd seen of him was when he tried to steal a chunk of the anti-gravity metal, obsidian, and fell upward into space.
I know, Rocky. He made a dead center hit on a moon crater.
And right away he started to take over.
You want us to take you to our leader?
Don't be silly, boys. I am your leader.
Today, Mr. Big is really big.
Well, I guess that means we're whipped.
How come that, Rock?
Well, how can we fight somebody who's clear up on the moon?
And as our friends gazed skyward, the face of the man in the moon seemed to take on the sinister features of that criminal mastermind, Mr. Big. Don't miss our next episode, Fright Flight, or A Rocky to the Moon.
Well, it looks as if our time has just about run out.
Mine must be a little slow.
You got the credits, Bullwinkle?
All on this itty-bitty card. Oop!
We're late again, Bullwinkle.
Right!
Bye now. See you next time.